You don't need to be a science genius to understand some of the basic rules of physics, like gravity, and most people would assume everything follows those rules. But that's not quite true, and in this video we're going to take a look at one of the crazy examples of when physics rules don't quite work. Now, whilst there are lots of things to do with quantum mechanics which just completely mess up physics, this is something a bit crazier, a substance which can float up walls and has some very weird properties. This substance is called a superfluid. Now, it isn't some cheesy physics superhero, this is an actual substance, and it is a special type of helium. To be precise, helium-4, or helium-3, but that has to get far colder. Not only does it have to be the specific type of helium, but it has to be cooled down to around minus 270 degrees Celsius, only a few degrees above absolute zero. Let's get into some of what makes it so strange. The first of this, it has no viscosity. But what does that mean? Well, the technical definition is that viscosity is a measurement of the liquid's resistance to flow, which basically means how thick the fluid is. For example, water has a lower viscosity than syrup. And if you're thinking, but why is that so exciting? I can explain. No viscosity means there is no resistance in its flow, so if you gave it a stir, it would just keep spinning. That's crazy! Whenever you would normally stir a drink, it would stop spinning in a matter of seconds, but theoretically a superfluid would be infinitely spinning. Another crazy property is when helium gets that cold, all the atoms are on the same energy level. Now, I could go into a bunch of scientific reasoning which I don't really understand, or I could just give you the simpler explanation. Basically, when all these atoms are on the same energy level, they start acting the same. The atoms stop whizzing around and bumping into each other as most atoms do, but instead become identical. They all move in the same direction at the same speed as if they were one big atom. But what about the going up walls bit I mentioned at the start? Can this weird substance really defy gravity? Sort of, yes, but this example takes a lot more explaining, so let's have a closer look at it. By defying gravity, I don't mean floating around in some supercooled blob. I'm talking about sliding up walls. If you had a container of this substance and took off the lid, it would literally start pouring all over the table. But why would it do this? How does that make sense? The reason it does this is because it tries to level out, so a filled beaker of superfluids would flow up the sides, pour onto the table, and when the level of superfluids on the table is equal to the level in the beaker, it would just stop flowing. However, why does it not just stay put, like a glass of water? Why does it need to level out? Well, there are a few different theories, but it is most likely due to the fact that it has almost no viscosity, almost no resistance, so tiny pressure changes can lead to it leaking out the bottom of the flask or flooding over the top. So, to recap, this substance is only a few degrees above absolute zero, has almost no resistance, can slide uphill, and has just about everything to confuse a scientist. So yeah, a pretty crazy substance. This is a much more scientific video to most that I do, and if you liked it, I would love to do more like this. If you prefer my previous videos, then tell me that in the comments too, because feedback is really important to future videos, growth of my channel, and really the content that you watch. So I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Please consider subscribing because it really helps out small creators like me, and I'll see you next Saturday with another video.